Welcome everyone to the edge of the internet. I don't know how you made it here, but I'm glad you made it. Today I have a special guest. He is the leader of the Golden State Breakers. He's a founding member of the Beats and Pieces crew, and he's a small business owner, Break Right Fitness. My friend, Bboy Precise. What's up, man?
Yo, what's good, what's good? Glad to be on your show finally.
Yeah, I see you got this dope GSB banner behind you. That was,
yeah, that's definitely something that I'm very proud of to have in my studio.
Yeah, I'm kind of jealous because I wish there was two of those so I could have copped one.
Straight up, right?
Back when I was doing GSB with you guys. Dope, dude. So, man, we're living in some pretty strange times right now with all this COVID thing and the shutdowns, and I mean, it's really been affecting, it's been affecting everybody, but definitely like small businesses and stuff. And so I know you run your Break Right Fitness, and it's how have you guys been kind of coping with the transition from going from in-person classes into now basically being shut down and being in that situation?
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing that nobody could ever predict, that COVID was gonna take out small businesses like this, and for me personally, it's really shut down my business about almost 100%. I still teach, but it's not the same, and I don't have the same attendance that I did before COVID hit. And it's definitely more of a challenge to teach because now, not only do we have to wear our masks, we're taking more breaks in between, and it's just a little bit more, consuming for the students to kind of be under that stress of wearing a mask. Breaking's hard already without a mask. So you put on a mask and these kids are just, they can't get used to that yet, So it's just very hard in terms of, trying to teach like that under those conditions.
Yeah, no, definitely. And so I know you were saying earlier that you didn't really do too many online things, but I have seen a number of people that are running small businesses similar to yours that have started doing online classes and stuff, and notably like my brother Moy, Natron, yeah. So like, what do you think about that, and what's your thoughts on that, on online classes?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. I think it works for some teachers that they're able to still teach and still able to reach a different capacity as far as not being in-person teaching. Online classes are challenging. I went to school for 4 years online, and man, was that a challenge in itself. So for students, I mean, I think it's you're fighting a couple different elements as far as like, can they work the computer, can they hear you, can they see you, is your music able to translate to them on the right tempo, so there's a lot of different challenges, but I think the era that we're in right now, this is what it is right now, and to be an online teacher, you just gotta roll with whatever the challenges are and be adaptable and flexible, and and I think it makes you a better teacher. I just haven't transitioned into that yet. Some of my students have asked, but I just haven't, I haven't got there because I'm, for me, the teacher that I am, I'm more of a side-by-side feeling, really breaking things down to you, versus, watching the YouTube video and being like, hey, like learn off of this, which you can, but the difference between that is that you don't have the feeling, right? So when a teacher is side by side by you, you can, kind of give them more of a motivation and feeling with whatever you're teaching them.
Particularly with breaking, I think that it's such a very like three-dimensional thing that doing it on a 2D screen makes it challenging, because it's like you're looking at maybe your student, they're doing some move, and you're trying to adjust their positions or whatever of their legs or feet or whatever in 2 dimensions, which I imagine would be very difficult. Whereas if you were just in person, you could just go, oh yeah, you got to move your foot back like 6 inches and kind of that way or whatever. You could right. Literally grab their foot and kind of move it. So that challenge, I think it really breaks down to I guess, like how you can actually break down these moves and explain them to someone. I mean, I can definitely see how it would make you a better teacher, because now you're like, okay, I don't have the benefit of being able to just grab someone's foot and move it. I have to actually explain it three-dimensionally how to move it there, and I can't even go near them to do that. So yeah, it means that you need to have a very good understanding of the moves, a very good understanding of what they're doing wrong, and then how to correct it. Yeah,
absolutely. And then the more people you have, like maybe on a Zoom call, like instead of like being like a teacher and looking at everybody in the class out, and being able to kind of like pinpoint, like you're looking at a screen looking like, all right, well, where's this guy or girl at? Like, and so, that takes away from the essence of teaching too. But, again, it's just, this is what we have to deal with right now. Being flexible and adaptable.
That's why you need the 70-inch screen TV.
Absolutely, yeah. On a computer screen, you're not going to, I mean, you can still get it done, right? But I mean, having a bigger screen would definitely help.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I guess like in adaptability, it's been kind of a challenge. If someone was to say want to start a business now during this time, what would be a recommendation you would have for them to get into this kind of space? Because it's definitely got its own challenges, and I think everybody's still figuring it out. But from someone who's just starting, they wanted to, start teaching online or whatever, what would be the first step you would tell them to do?
Yeah, I mean, right now, as you see, a lot of businesses are shutting down, but then you see other businesses that are evolving into, making something out of nothing. Mm-hmm. And that's dope, because the people that make something out of nothing are going to be here a lot longer than, the previous businesses that have already shut down, So first and foremost, do your research, and find out what your target market is, and really how to market to those certain individuals, whether it's online, which everything is right now, right? Mm-hmm. But, use other sources of media, however that may be. You just got to be very creative in order to kind of, build up your following, in the beginning. And really just have that grit to not really to quit. Things are going to get hard, of course, but, you really have to persevere through these challenges. In order to, see any type of success, So the first thing is just, know what the target market is, and how to really go about that.
Yeah. Do you think doing like one-on-one classes is a viable option? I know that's because you were saying earlier, the challenge is maybe when there's a ton of people that you're working with, it gets hard to really adjust them. But one-on-one thing, I mean, you might even be able to do those in person in a way, as long as you're, practicing safe practices. I heard of a couple people that were doing in-person classes, just one-on-one stuff with masks and whatever. Do you think that would maybe be a good way to start it as well?
If you have the facility or the the place to do it, then absolutely, yeah, you can do that for sure. But you just got to follow the guidelines as far as keeping everybody and yourself safe. I do that right now. I only take one student at a time.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas before, some of the students would come in here and they would just wait, or the parents would wait, in the studio as well. That doesn't happen no more. Parents have to wait outside, one student in at a time. And it's basically just a private, and which works. It still works. You're still getting the teaching out, and the students still able to get, whatever they want to get done here, whether it's, to do fitness or to break, they're still going to leave here knowing that, it was a good session for them. But, you really just got to follow the guidelines and keep everybody safe, and make sure that, everything is clean before the next person comes in.
Mm-hmm. One thing I saw I was out in Santa Barbara like recently, and I saw that on the street, basically all these businesses on the street, they pulled their businesses outside into the street. They had the city basically shut down the street like for miles, and all those businesses on that main street were able to go into the street and just do all their stuff. So there was like barber shops and stuff and nail salons, and they were doing all their business basically outside. I'm wondering if maybe that's a viable option, and I'm sure there's probably someone out there in the breaking community that's doing something like that.
Oh yeah, no, there's always an option to go outside for sure. There's studios that are doing that right now because they're not allowed to have people inside.
Mm-hmm.
And some of my students that come here, they actually have to practice outside in the parking lot, because they're not allowed to be inside because they're packing too many people in a small area.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what it takes to be, for businesses to stay in business. They have to get creative, and they have to take it outside, or they have to do it in smaller numbers, right? So in that essence, that does work. But how long does it work for until, the guidelines change again, and then you can't do it outside, and then you have to get creative again to figure out what the next step is.
Yeah, no, I agree for sure. It's a challenging thing. So like moving on to some other stuff is Golden State Breakers. I know, like, because you guys were kind of in the middle of the last season, and when everything kind of shut down, the NBA completely shut itself down. And so I know that this is also affecting like the whole entertainment industry really. And so I know that you guys haven't really done any new games. Do you think that there's a way to actually continue doing like entertainment type of work in this world, or in this COVID pandemic?
Oh, in the capacity right now that we're in right now, I mean, all the artists are struggling, left and right, from GS Breakers to Cirque du Soleil, letting go of 4,000 employees, to not having, live fans at, baseball games, everything is changed, right? And it might be like that for a few years, because there is no physical way to make sure that, people in the crowd or audience are safe, because, at a game, as in the arena, people are stacked up on different, seats and everything. So if someone's yelling, above you, you're going to get, whatever, it's coming down from that, or side by side, right? So I don't know how they're gonna, physically do that, if COVID is still around for, a few more years, which right now, the cases are rising and it doesn't look like anything's stopping right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, as far as entertainment, I'm sure you can still have entertainment there, but it's, but it wouldn't be the same entertainment that you would be getting if you had a live audience, right?
Yeah.
You might not get shows, but you might be able to, have people come out and do, freestyle stuff, or you might be able to do a show, but it might just be for, the players and, and maybe cardboard cutouts, moving forward.
Yeah, no, I was thinking like, what if there was like, you guys were making just like a video of your show, and then they'll play it during, breaks or whatever during the games. Maybe that's an option. I don't know how down they would be. I mean, they obviously have a lot of commercials and stuff that they got to play, but
well, what would be dope would be like to actually film us, to actually film the entertainment, and so that way they don't have to take commercial breaks, and you don't miss seeing, the live entertainment.
Yeah.
So you actually get some, some live air, coverage of, the dance teams. That would be dope. But yeah, I mean, playing a video, is good too. But it's just, entertainment is just definitely something that's changed, and I really don't see, how entertainment can come back at this moment.
Yeah, no, I've been really trying to figure out how that could work, and I haven't really thought of a good way of that. And I mean, I'm definitely not the smartest person or the best person to talk to about that, but it's been something that's really been rolling around in my mind about, like, if this thing is here to stay for a while, there definitely has to be some kind of change so that, these performers can actually like make a living still, because I think that there's a demand for that stuff still, but it's not in the same, you can't deliver that material in the same way that we've been delivering it before, because now obviously it's got to be most likely online. And so, you know, I know that Netflix and all that stuff has been really blowing up recently. So maybe there's a way to do, you know, put like Cirque du Soleil shows on Netflix or YouTube or whatever the heck. I mean, maybe, and then you're paying like a premium to watch it or something. Maybe that's...
They actually started doing that.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they actually started doing something similar to that. Yeah, well, the point you just brought up about entertainment, you know, leads me back to thinking about, you know, before you do the shows, you know, you have rehearsals and everything, as you know, you're in a studio and you're with, you know, your group and everything. So, you know, that's going to change too, because now gyms, you know, are closing down, right? So how are they going to keep, you know, the dance teams together and still be able to, you know, to be, you know, universal and put out, you know, a good product, you know, when everything is, you know, shut down? Yeah. You know, it's just a lot of unknown answers right now, and it's frustrating because it's just, you know, I like to have answers, you know, when people like want to know something and I don't have anything. So it's just very frustrating for me to kind of just be in limbo.
Yeah, you want to have like a map of where you're going, and right now the map doesn't quite exist. And, you know, you hear on TV, you know, politicians are saying we're going this way, oh no, we're going that way, and it's like they don't. It definitely seems to me like they don't even have a map either. So no. Everybody doesn't have a map. Like they don't have a map.
Leading the blind.
They're the ones who should have a map, and so my map is definitely wrong. So yeah, no, it definitely breeds. It's a perfect place to breed like anxiety about the future in this whole industry, and so I think probably a lot of people in the scene are probably feeling that pressure right now. I mean, and I'm a little bit concerned that it, you know, say COVID ends up, you know, wrapping itself up in the next like couple months. I still think that there's going to be lasting consequences of it for years to come, just because of like how much it's like really affected people, you know, whether it's mentally, physically, or financially, you know. And so I'm trying to figure out some sort of recommendation for people that are feeling that kind of pressure. And so that's why I've been really talking to a lot of people about like COVID and what they think is in the future. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Man, I mean, it's hard to say, right? Because there's no vaccine that's going to be readily available for, you know, people to take. And if it is, you know, they have to go through the trials of, you know, what works, what doesn't work. Do people develop the antibodies? And if they do, are they long lasting or are they short lasting? You know, so there's no quick fix to this COVID thing, right? And the more our leadership, you know, is able to put out, you know, misinformation, you know, you're always going to have a different crowd that's going to, you know, go the other way, which is, you know, why cases are spiking, because, you know, people just don't want to listen to, you know, what they're supposed to listen to, you know, social distance, you know, wash your hands, wear a mask, you know. So it's just, you know, different information instead of having the right information is leading people into, you know, a lot of, you know, bad errors that could be fixed, and we could get out of this maybe sooner than later if we all just kind of just follow the rules. So yeah, I don't think COVID really, you know, going away, you know, in a couple months, you know. I think I read that they were going to have, you know, live audiences, whether, you know, that's if COVID is down, you know, in 2022. You know, that's a long time from now, you know, for B-boys and B-girls to, number one, not practice, but you can still practice, right? But you're not going to be practice with a lot of people. Yeah. But to not be in competition and everything, and not to be in your form of, you know, what you once were. I mean, that's a hard pill to swallow, because, you know, COVID really is testing everybody right now to kind of see how bad you want this, you know. And are you still going to be a dope B-boy when you come back, or B-girl? You know, it's just really. It's really just, you know, it's a sad situation, because I almost feel like COVID put the brakes on everything, you know, and you know, people's lifestyles depended on this, you know, and right now it's just like, damn, you know, what am I supposed to do right now? You know, if I can't break, if I can't perform, if I can't do a workshop, if I can't do this, you know, it's like, that's, you know, that's your physical mentality is just kind of like messed with.
Yep. I think particularly with hip hop, there's, you know, because hip hop is birthed out of kind of like a social, cultural thing, right? And right now there's not really any kind of socialness to it. You can't really do a social activity by social distancing, you know? And I think we've obviously been seeing people trying their best to, you know, do online battles and stuff like that. And I think that for the most part, they're looking like they're adapting pretty well. I know that it's definitely not the same as like a in-person battle. But I'm hoping that that's at least some sort of relief. I don't think it quite is, but you know, what I'm worried is that because everything is it's so socially connected now that you're trying to do it socially distanced, that the culture maybe is going to take a hit, you know, because of that. In the future too, once everything opens up, are people going to be wearing masks to jams still, even though maybe like there's a vaccine and we know that it's like a permanent kind of fix or whatever? Do we think that there's going to be, you know, you're going to have to still battle, you're going to have circles that are like spaced out 6 feet apart or whatever? Like, is this going to be forever? Are we going to see this for like 10 years in the future and still, like, you know what I mean? I do think that it could potentially rock the breaking scene to its core, to the hip hop scene to its core, you know? One thing I was seeing with like the UFC was like, basically they were bringing in all the fighters on that card for that day, and they would just bring them to an area, and it was like they had to do all their social distancing, and then they would just bring the two fighters into the ring. They would fight. All the commentators would be away. There's no crowd. There's nothing. It's just live streamed. To me, it seems like maybe that's a way to do battles as well. Like, say you're doing these online qualifiers or whatever, and then your top 16 gets an invitation to a place. So now you're bringing them out. You drew in all this social distance, and then you bring them into this ring. You clean the ring every time, you know, someone goes in, and then you let them battle and do that. You test everyone before they come in or whatever. Maybe that's the way to do these big high profile events now for the at least the time being. But, you know, is that going to have a long lasting effect on the culture too? Because now that we're getting so used to that, what's going to happen? I mean, I think people yearn to have that party atmosphere back, but they're also going to be scared of it as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you know, the scene's already taken a hit, right? And, you know, and how long will it take a hit for? And yeah, and those battles that you're talking about, you know, having, you know, set battles with, you know, a set amount of opponents, you know, just like kind of how UFC is right now, that might be a good transition to go into, you know, because, you know, the scene will still kind of thrive off of that, but it's not going to thrive off how it used to be, because, you know, now you only have, you know, a certain percentage that can qualify for these events, you know, versus where you have everybody being there in the party atmosphere, you know. So, you know, at that point, it's just, you know, it's just a whole different type of, you know, jam that we're talking about. And you know, you're always going to have people that are going to be scared, you know, to go out and you know, b-boys, you know, get sweaty real fast, right? so you know, people wanting to touch the floor after that person goes out, you know, and then, you know, I mean,
can you catch the disease from sweat? I don't know. I really don't know shit about this disease, to be honest.
Well, it's just, you know, it gets spread through droplets of sweat, right?
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And so if somebody's sweating on the floor, you know, you go to, you know, slap someone's hands, and, you know, they're not clean because after a battle, they just touch the floor, you know.
Breaking is a very, very dirty thing. it's kind of funny because there's a lot of times when I would be practicing with somebody, and we'll go eat afterwards or whatever. This is before COVID, but we would go eat afterwards, and they don't even wash their hands, and I'm like, dude, you know how many people walked on that floor? And also they walked into the bathroom, they walked outside. I don't know what they stepped on. Dude, your hands are so, like, literally the dirtiest thing out there. You just touched it. I mean, you should at least wipe your hands down a little bit before you go and eat your freaking burrito or whatever the heck. I don't think B-boys recognize. I always thought that.
But see that the thing is that this makes the virus kind of put everything to the forefront as far as like your cleanliness. Like if you were clean already before, then that's cool, but then you see other people that you're talking about, that don't wash their hands after touching the floor, and then when you think about what we step on every day and where we go, and you're breaking on that floor, it's just like, and some people even spit on the floor because they want to make sure that their hands are sticky enough to do power. Like for me, like when I do power, I can't do nothing on a slippery floor. So anytime I do power, I'm always kind of like just getting my hands ready to be sticky. So, I'm putting my germs on the floor, so you or someone else is going to touch it next. And we're like, yo, that was a dope round. Cool. All right, cool. Now we just touch each other.
Have a little COVID. Here you go.
Have a little COVID, exactly.
No, maybe it's a good thing because one of the things I've always clowned the breaking community is that, like, yo, you guys need to shower more. You got to clean yourself. Like, there's so many times I go to a jam and it's like, how much body odor do I smell right now? Come on, man.
Bro, you ain't
Where's
lying.
the deodorant at? So maybe that's a good thing.
The jams need to be sponsored by Right Guard from now on.
Oh, yeah. Bring like a,
They got to learn how to use that and put it on and everything,
Everyone gets a little shampoo bottle and like the little hotel, like
the hotel kit, the toiletry kit.
Yeah, everybody gets that coming into the jam. That's funny. Man, so moving on, you've been in the hip hop scene for a long time. I mean, you're 41 now, and when did you really start in it?
So let's see. I started back in '93.
93, okay.
Yep.
Man,
93.
how old was I? I was 6.
Hey.
Yeah, I was 6 years old, so I don't know what I was doing. Probably trying to stop wetting the bed or something. I don't know. But yeah, dude. So man, 93. That's basically golden era hip hop music. Were you? Did you start as a b-boy or were you? I think you used to pop, right?
Yeah. No, I started off as a popper,
Okay.
kind of just, kind of figuring out, what direction I wanted to go. And I really started from the underground scene, where a lot of parties, they're now called raves,
Yeah.
But back then they were really underground parties, that you would have to, find out from like a friend of a friend, or call a line that told you exactly what the party was.
A landline. Yeah.
But from the underground scene, it was just I got to see a lot of different dancers, and b-boys would be there, and this is way before any internet was around or anything like that. So it was just super dope to see other b-boys that you never seen before that were at this underground scene, killing it.
Yeah, this was before even pagers, I think, right? Pagers?
Pagers were around at that time.
They were, okay, yeah. I mean, but it was basically a lot harder to communicate. There was no internet, there was no smartphones, there was no text messages, there was no, really anything. I mean, you had to call, and you had one phone at your house, and if your mom was on the phone, you can't use the phone.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, there was like pay phones you can get to, but that's a whole other issue. So yeah, I know communication was not the easiest thing back then for sure.
No, it wasn't. But it was what it was. But it was still dope because it was just an era that you were living in, and and somehow I found my way into hip hop. And started popping and everything. And I think it was after I saw maybe Breaking One, I saw
Mm.
saw Turbo and Ozone in there, and I was like, "Yo, what is this?"
Did you want to dress like them?
I think at one point I might have.
Oh, you had the little like the shirt like up here. I always laughed at that.
I never had that shirt.
The earring too. He had the like earring that was like 6 inches long or whatever the hell.
Rapper foot earring.
Whenever I saw that movie, I was like, oh, the dancing is so dope, but I can't help but think that they're just making fun of hip hop, because I'm like, there's no way in hell people are like dressing like this and not just making fun of something.
Oh man, I swear, man, but that's how hip hop was created, right?
Yeah. So tight. So like, really, it was, the scene back then was like a product of its environment. Really, like, hard to communicate, very underground because of that. Really, not a lot of I guess mainstream it wasn't really in the mainstream. There wasn't really any footage really. I mean, that was probably before Battle of the Year was really making VHS tapes, I think, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was probably about the era where it was, coming around, but it wasn't around yet.
Yeah. I mean, barely people probably had video cameras. I mean, when was Radiotron, the first Radiotron? That was probably around that time, right?
Yep. It was.
Okay, yeah. So when was the moment when you like really said, man, this is like the craziest thing, I need to really start breaking? And when did it click in your mind that this is like my life?
Yeah, I went to this competition in Union City. It was somewhat underground, but it was my first breaking competition ever. And I remember old school Rockbush was there, Silence was there, and this is when it was okay to have like a popper on your squad, when you were battling, and and these battles went for days. It's not like one round, two rounds here and there. Back then it was just like everyone went for broke. And it was just, the type of feeling, the environment that, that I was put in, and, the music and everything, it was just like really enticing to me to really want to like dive more into what breaking was, what part of the element it was, part of the hip hop, era. So yeah, it was through that competition, I saw Solomon and Raw Force, but what really stood out to me was this one guy that was amazing and killing it, and just really just like, when you see somebody just like, oh my God, like I want to do that, or I want to be that guy, or just, you just want to emulate that person. And that one person that I saw was Ivan.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was going to say it's either Ivan or Super Dave probably.
Yeah, Super Dave was there too, but, Ivan, was just... Ivan is amazing. You can't say enough about Ivan.
To be honest, like, I think Ivan was probably one of the first people I actually saw break too. I think it was in the battle between him and, I think it was Iron Monkey, and Iron Monkey was good at that point, but man, I saw Ivan was just like freaking. He was on drugs or something. Like, he was just going crazy. And I'm like, oh my God, how, like, it's like he went. It was like he turned Super Saiyan for a second and just went crazy. And I was like, holy crap, how the hell did he just do that? So I don't know. When I saw that, I was like, man, I wish I could do that. Like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. So
right.
Yeah.
Right. And for someone to take it to that level, right? It's like, yo, number one, he can do that, right? So I can do that. Maybe not that caliber, but just, he was able to inspire, me and everyone else in the world to, to take breaking into, the next level. Also because he was Mexican, and I was like, yo, I'm Mexican. So he's representing for the, for the Mexicans. I was like, yo, I can do that too. So more so I liked him, for that too. When you see, someone that, is representing not only for hip hop, but also, for your ethnicity, you're like, yo, that's dope. Hip hop is, you know, it doesn't stop at just one, you know, ethnicity. Everything's combined. So I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. We can all get together, all colors, all people, everything, and dance and battle and still be cool after the end of the battle. Like, all right, yo, that was dope.
That's one of the coolest things I think about hip hop is that it's so like multicultural, and it's really, for the most part, very encouraged for it to stay multicultural, and I feel like every country kind of has its own thing that they're contributing. Every like ethnicity is kind of contributing something to it, and it's like I think it's such a great melting pot of stuff that it really proves to me that we can all really be unified as a human race, because we're already doing it in hip hop, you know what I mean? And I think that that's a great thing. And definitely, like, I know, you know, as a young person, seeing somebody who you really relate to, you know, on an ethnicity basis, seeing that they're thriving in this probably was very powerful to you to go, man, I can be that. I can do something in this too, man. This is such a cool thing. I mean, I definitely felt the same way seeing you know, all the different people breaking when I was young, going like, man, it does, you know, because I'm mixed race. I'm half Japanese, half German, and it's like there's not a lot of people around that are like that. And then when you come into the hip hop world, it's kind of like no one cares about that. They're like, hey, dude, we're just dancing, man. And I felt a good connection to that, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I think that's one of the main powers of hip hop, and I, you know, I think it's something that we should always keep in the forefront of it, you know, essentially. So
yeah, no, absolutely. And you know, back around my time when I started, you know, it was breaking wasn't breaking, you know, it wasn't around, you know, how it is right now, where you can just, you know, go to any practice and, you know, vibe out, you know, and do that, you know, like, because there's no internet, you know, there's really nobody to really connect to, you know, you kind of just were on your own to figure things out, you know, and watch videos and watch Beat Street like 100 times, you know, to be like, all right, how did he do that move right there? You know, on a VHS, rewind, you know. So it was just very, you know, it was very humbling to kind of just, you know, to learn these moves, you know, and kind of keep your hunger alive, you know, at these battles, because of the fact that, you know, everybody was kind of coming up at the same time.
There was something I wanted to go back to, and I'm trying to remember what it was, because you were talking about like the first time you really got into breaking, and you mentioned something. Hopefully I'll remember this. But one thing that I've always really liked about you and your crew, Beats and Pieces, was that you've always been like this really together thing. And, you know, in my personal opinion, I think crew is a very important thing. It's like family. It's like your hip hop family. And I've always really looked up to Beats and Pieces crew, because you guys, I think you do it right, because you have this tight knit family, and it's like, you know, it's a very family-esque type of crew. And I think that in the present culture of breaking and hip hop, that's not really in the forefront of people's, you know, we don't see a lot of like crews still kind of like rocking together like that. I mean, I know Massive Monkeys is still kind of keeping that same mentality. I think Havakoro as well, but beyond that, there's not a lot of like mainstream crews, I think, that are doing that. So I wanted to know like what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, I mean, coming up, you know, my first crew was all aspects, you know, and you know, we represented all aspects of hip hop, you know, not just in breaking. We had our own DJs, our own graph writers, you know, we had the B-boys, you know, and then we also had the MCs. So we were all aspects of hip hop, and that's why we went under all aspects when we first came up. And we battled, you know, all the time at all the events. Had Jamar as our all-style dancer, which is now, you know, it's taken off to be an all-style dancer, but back then it was just very primitive to have your B-boys and, you know, have an all-style dancer next to you, and, you know, judges were like, well, he's not breaking, you know? But that's what a crew is. You enter with your crew. Whether you're good, you're bad. You just got to go through the fire with the people that you start with, right? Because you build up, that mentality of knowing, what they can do and what they can't do. Knowing their motivations and trusting in them, right? So when we go to battle, I don't have to second guess, what's Sergio gonna do? What's RJ gonna do? Is he ready? Is he not ready? You prepare for certain things like this, and also for life. Life happens in different ways. Where people have other problems in life. And then you have to be there for them for that too. So crew, like you said, is your family, right? So your family and your brotherhood, you take with you through everything, right? And right now, you don't see that. You don't see that in the scene. Like people are repping like 5 or 6 different crews. And to me, that's cool. But you're never, you're not. You're essentially you're not with your own crew. Like, why aren't you with your own crew anymore? Is it because they stopped going this far and this other crew's up here and you want to go up there too? I've always had that loyalty to being true to my crew because of the fact that this is something forever, long lasting. Whether we're in the scene, out of the scene, we're always able to kind of come back together and kind of support each other through whatever endeavor we're going through. So crew to me is like family, loyalty, leadership. Without crew, you really don't have a lot.
Yeah. No, I think nowadays there's so much emphasis on competitions now, and so everyone wants to really like squad up and become, take the best guy from every crew and do that. And I think there's crews such as like Super Crew, for instance. That's I think how they essentially started, but they basically built a family out of that. And I think maybe that's where the scene is going towards, is getting elite members of each crew and then making families out of them. I have some reservations about that. Ultimately, if they're rocking with their brothers and sisters, I think that's fine. Like, I don't particularly, I don't know how well that would work for me. But, I definitely think that, a lot of times in the scene, you have like this breaking crew, and then you have the actual people that you're like down with, you know what I mean? Like for me, my crew, a lot of them don't even really dance anymore, but they're like family to me, you know what I mean? And so I imagine every b-boy, every b-girl has that relationship to a group of people, of individuals that are in the hip-hop scene, but they probably aren't necessarily dancing with those guys all the time. They might be with another group too. So I don't know. I don't necessarily think it's like a bad thing. It's just a different thing that I've been trying to think about and see how that's actually going to affect the future of hip hop. How do you feel it's going to affect the future?
I mean, there's pros and cons to being in multiple crews, right? I mean, you're always gonna either get along with that person or crew or not, but and I don't know. I mean, right now I think we're seeing what the future right now with Red Bull having their own team of of elite dancers, also with Monster having crazy dancers, from other crews, all unite to form that unit, so I mean, I think right now, we're in that era as far as, if breaking is able to, get traction again, maybe we're looking at a bigger platform, with, more sponsors coming to be involved to sponsor, certain crews that will take it to the next level and get sponsored by the next big major company, energy drink or, something, something to that caliber.
Mm.
So right now, you're able to make a lot more money in breaking, if you're at that, top level, of maybe that 5% or 1%, if you can get up there, but, for the other people that can't get up there, you really just gotta, think about what crew means to you, and what your actual goals are, to pursue breaking. Do you want to be with your crew just have a brotherhood or sisterhood and enter battles and that's it, or do you want to take it to the maximum performance level and give it all you got, and try to be on these elite teams that you may be able to get a major sponsorship from it. It's just it really comes down to what that person's ultimate goals are, what they want to try to get out of breaking.
Yeah. In your opinion, what is like the most important thing that like breaking has really like given you? I mean, like what do you get mainly from it? If it's not just competition or the thrill of competing and dancing, what I guess mentally, physically do you think is the greatest benefit of it?
Well, mentally, physically, I mean that's part of it, but at the same time you get freedom. You get freedom to create. You get to be yourself. You get to add your own style and your own persona to to whatever character you are out there.
Yeah.
For me, it's just I'm trying. Not, I don't need to be the best. I'm not trying to be the best. I'm not the best. But I want to leave a legacy behind of my foundation of where I came from all aspects to beats and pieces, where the meaning to our crew for beats and pieces is everyone in the crew rocks beats and we leave a little piece of our style behind. Right? So beats and pieces, you rock beats, leave your style behind. Yeah. So the legacy for me is to be free to inspire and motivate and to leave a legacy behind so the next generation can see that, i.e. my students, can pick that up and carry on the torch into the next level of breaking. When they get to that level, they can remember, oh, okay, well, it all starts from, from the past. If I look at my past, then I can take it to the future.
Yeah. No, I think that's a really good answer, freedom. Because that definitely resonates with me. I mean, when I first was introduced to the hip hop scene, I felt like I was really kind of trapped, in my life. School wants you to do this, your parents want you to do that, other people want you to do this, and it's like, man, I don't know what the hell is going on. And then you come to hip hop and it's like, what do you want to do? Hey, we got this. We like you. Hey, do you on the floor. And I was like, oh, for reals? Dude, all right, cool. And then you like roll around or whatever the hell, and then someone's like, hey, that's a dope move. And it's like, oh man, I was just rolling on the floor. And so, then you make a whole style out of that, and you're really building something out of nothing, out of like the complete emptiness of like your mind or whatever, you know what I mean? So man, that really resonates with me because definitely it gave me the sense of freedom in a world where I was just trapped by freaking all the different things going on. So yeah, I mean, hopefully that's what other people get out of it too. I mean, I think that, yeah, if I was to answer that same question, it'd probably be the same answer that you just gave.
Yeah. Right on. Yeah, I mean, everybody has their challenges when it comes to breaking. Right now, I think the biggest challenge is being able to create something that's new, because right now, because the internet is so fast tracked, you can look up any type of move, any type of tutorial, anything you want. Look up any b-boy, b-girl you want and be able to emulate that style, right? So I think it's great, but it's also bad because it doesn't allow you to be creative as you once were. Before the internet was around, you had to fight for yourself, or physically had to fight for yourself at the end of the night. You just bit my stuff, like, let's go, we're gonna handle it on the floor, we're gonna handle it outside. And that's how it was, because it was very just like, important for someone to be, themselves and to not bite, right? But right now, the internet's giving you everything, but it's also taking everything away from you.
Yeah.
So so it's really, it's exciting, but it's not exciting anymore.
Yeah. In my opinion, I think social media and mostly social media and just the online presence of everything, and the on-demand of just content for breaking has allowed the scene to kind of go in one direction, right? And so you see like very prominent styles that most people are adhering to, and there's only like a few random little pieces that aren't really fitting that mold anymore. Whereas in like, I would say the golden era of like breaking, probably like the late 90s, early 2000s, personally for me that would be the golden era. It was like, if you were biting or anything, if your style even remarkably looked close to another person's style, it's like someone's gonna say something, you know what I mean? And so you had to stay different. I mean, that's why you get guys like Robzilla who are just like, I don't think he does a single move that's like a textbook breaking move, you know what I mean? Or like, you get Cujo or something where he's doing some wild stuff. You got Remind, he's mixing like kind of like a house style with an up rock style and just amazing groundwork moves. Yep. To put all those people in the same category of breaking is like impossible. But now you see a lot of the high profile b-boys, they're kind of like, I mean, there's definitely, I don't want to say that they're like biting or anything because I don't think they are, but I do think that the competition scene has driven styles to a certain place, and so you no longer see a lot of prominent styles like Robzilla, for instance. Right. And so
it's very textbook right now.
Yeah, people picked up the manual for breaking, and then and we're going like, okay, I'm gonna keep like 90% of this, and then that 10% is that stuff that came in their mind. Whereas I feel like back in like the early 2000s, it was more like, I'm gonna take that 10% of the textbook, and then I'm gonna do 90% of whatever the hell I want to do. So I really yearn for more of that, to be honest. I'd love to see some just wild stuff, become prominent in the breaking culture, because that's one of the more important things to me when I see something that I've just never seen before. I think it's like, that's one of the coolest parts of breaking, because I mean, definitely around like the early 2000s when you started seeing they used to call it the animal style, like with or the Vegas style, where they were like stepping on their hands and doing some crazy threads and stuff. And,
the rolling style.
Yeah, the rolling style. Yeah, and so that was so cool to see, because I never ever thought about doing that. And when I saw it, I was like, oh man, these guys are taking this into a way different direction. And then you had like the circus style where they were like throwing their foot over their head, and I was like, oh my god, this is like yoga with breaking. I mean, and so just seeing those wild different styles, it's a testament to how free hip hop really is, how freeing it can be. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we need to get back to the basics of that, because right now, like we were saying, like it is very textbook to kind of see these competitions, right? Whereas that freestyle, element isn't there as much, because right now everybody relies on, for sets, you know, and these are competition b-boys, right? Nothing wrong with sets, right? Because you're basically just, putting out a set story of your burn, right? Whereas, in the past it was just a freestyle, with burns in between, but it was just unique in its own, manner, the way it was done, and it was like, yo, that's super dope, that somebody can still be, abstract like that and still be able to, pull off, that style.
Yeah, it's, I think the coolest, what I would see in that time was more like, it was more of like art. And the great thing about art is that not every painting, for instance, is gonna resonate with everybody, but it's gonna resonate with a few, and it's a very art is a very personal thing too. So when I saw someone breaking and doing something that's just off the wall, seeing that it reminded me of like painting, for instance, because it seems like they had to dig deep into themselves, really put their own spin on it. And I started out as a painter, and way before I ever even started breaking. And so
as graph?
No, painting like this. And
painting.
I don't know if
Okay.
you can see this one though. But yeah, I painted for a long time. I mean, basically since I was a kid. And so like I was big into that world. And so then coming into breaking and seeing that same kind of thing inside it was really cool. You know, it's really cool to see that. And so and I think that's why I it really resonated with me, and I wanted to do more of it. And so now in a world where there's it's more competition based, and you're missing that a little bit, or the artistic part of it is kind of going to the back burner a little bit. It bothers me a little bit, and I don't want to necessarily hate on the scene. I think it's going where it's gonna go, but I just hope that it doesn't lose a piece of that too, because I think that is a very valuable thing, and I do think it is a fundamental pillar of hip hop and breaking, is the originality and the artistic nature of it. And so when people ask about foundation, most people will say, oh yeah, we got 6-step and windmill and head spin and stuff. Those are foundational moves. But one thing that gets left out of the conversation, I think, is originality, is that piece of you. And maybe it's taboo to say that your foundation is based on something that might not even exist already. But I do think that that's important, because that's really how breaking started. I mean, anti-biting is a pillar of breaking, right? So I do think that it's somehow tied into the foundation of everything. So
yeah, no, it definitely is.
That's my rant about dude, so one last thing, we're kind of hitting almost an hour now, so we should probably close out soon. One thing you've been doing a lot during this quarantine is you've been DJing a lot, and which I didn't even know you DJ'd, but hearing all your mixes, I know you've been putting them on SoundCloud and stuff. I've been like peeping a lot of them, and I was like, oh dude, this guy's got some skills. And so I guess, how did that come about, and like when did you really start DJing?
Yeah, well, remember in the beginning I said we represent all aspects of hip hop?
Yeah.
So we had DJs in our crew, and I always was around, DJs from the start. I would always see them, hear them, go to competitions, to watch them. But I never, delved into that, element of wanting to learn until recently. And I've only been DJing for a year, but what has helped me, I think, get better equipped to be a DJ and to understand music is, that I'm already, accustomed to music, knowing when certain, drops are gonna hit, knowing, where the hi-hats are, all that stuff, that comes, to being a DJ. So being a B-boy definitely has, fast-tracked me into understanding music and, what type of music that I want to put out. I want to put out good music with, with a lot of, good energy that allows someone to, to maybe take a trip back to their memory and be like, oh, damn, I remember when hip-hop was hip-hop, and with DJing, it's kind of like breaking, you're able to, add your own style, like we were just talking about, to be original, right? To have your own flair into how you want to develop these mixes, so that's very unique to me, and I think that's why I dig deeper into wanting to be a better DJ, because it's like breaking. You can be whatever you want to be in this. You just got to put the work in, and the product is gonna sell itself. And it's been a fun journey. Like I said, it's only been a year. Still a lot to learn. Just like with breaking. You're never going to learn everything, but, you just got to just perfect your style as best as you can, and hope that it resonates with the right, people. And if it doesn't, that's okay. You're still, going through a journey. It's not a race. It's a marathon, and, you just really want to take your time, and luckily through DJing, it's, helped me kind of, stay afloat, through COVID, because I'm now, not only making mixes, now other people are hitting me up, for events. Before COVID, I had like 6 or 7, events I was going to DJ, and I lost them all because obviously we can't get together and do that right now.
Yeah.
But right now I'm getting other people hitting me up, online for me to make mixes for them, for maybe they're teaching a class and they need a mix, right?
Yeah.
So I'm able to make a mix and, still able to kind of stay in that element of, staying busy, and still be able to, turn a profit, for something that, really just, came out of nowhere.
Yeah. I think DJing, well, to be a dancer, I think to be a good dancer, you fundamentally have to have a good understanding of music. And I think I think dancing and DJing have this relationship where if you're good at dancing, you can probably figure out DJing. And same thing, I think with DJing, I think you can figure out dancing as well, because of how interlaced the music is. When I first started breaking, actually, I was really intrigued in the DJ culture and the music culture, and so I bought some shitty turntables, and I was, man, how old was I? I was probably like 13. No, I was 14 or 15 probably, and we would just go and practice breaking, and we would bring our turntables, me and my brother, and we would just play during our practice or whatever. And so we would just take turns DJing and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that really helped me get an understanding of dancing, get a good understanding of hip hop, get a good understanding of music, the formulation of music. And so I feel like that helped me a lot in the dance world and in the music world. And so I don't know, I encourage every dancer to really have a little stint in DJing, just try it out a little bit, because I think it'll help a lot for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it helps with with counting, it helps with learning just musicality and everything.
Yeah, it really gives you another perspective on it, because essentially DJing to me is like dancing with music, right? You're obviously mixing stuff, but you're juggling and stuff, and it's like you're dancing to music while you make the music,
Right.
So I encourage people to try it out a little bit, because I do think it would help a lot in dancing. And so I don't know, I've always wanted to get back into DJing. I wasn't necessarily a great DJ or anything. I was trying to learn how to scratch and shit. Scratching is very hard. I was just learning how to juggle, and so I learned back when Serato wasn't a thing. So I actually I remember watching some a few DJ documentaries, and what did I see? This was before YouTube, so I definitely didn't see anything on YouTube.
DMC Championship.
I think maybe it was that. And so I would see Hubert and guys like that who would be using all these crazy techniques where they would stack records, and they would put tape on the certain break and stuff. And I was watching it and really picking apart how they did that stuff. And I was like, oh man, I think I can do that. So I would try to do it and stuff. And so it helped me kind of learn the DJ game a little bit. And definitely helped me understand music more, which obviously helped in dancing. So, you know, I hope someday I can get back into DJing. I've been thinking about buying some new turntables, but
Nice.
that was before I bought all this equipment to like do this podcast. So I don't know.
Right.
Someday I'll probably get some more stuff. I
You
started
will.
doing music production too, so I bought a bunch of like music production equipment and good like keyboard and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
the turntables are kind of still on like it's in the future
Yeah.
financial investment, I guess. But yeah, I hope I can get into that again. So anyways, so with DJing, your goal is to really like start doing like DJing more competitions, or are you also trying to do like clubs and other events, maybe weddings too? Is that something you're looking at doing?
Well, yeah, I have my own production company, Precise Productions, right?
Okay.
And we're a full service production company that does all types of events, you know, whatever they are, you know. So yeah, and that's, you know, got started, you know, a little bit before COVID hit, you know, and everything was going under my LLC for, you know, the production company. So when that, you know, when COVID, whenever, you know, we're able to do what, you know, another event party, you know, then I'll definitely pick that back up and transition into that. And, you know, that's why I'm making all these mixes, so that way I can still keep some visibility out there. So, you know, when clients ask, you know, hey, do you have a demo, or do you have a, you know, a YouTube page I can go check your mixes out? Oh yeah, well, here's like 20 different mixes I have, you know? So I'm just trying to really kind of still market myself in a different capacity, to where, you know, I can kind of still pick up where I left off, if not better. I wouldn't mind doing, you know, battles, you know, B-Way battles, you know, in the future. I think that's dope too. I think I would bring a different, you know, a different flair and style to it. But my focus is on, you know, not so much clubs, but just like, you know, events, you know, that are going to allow me to, you know, have, you know, different types of styles and different types of, you know, equipment there that I can bring.
Like corporate events and family events, stuff like that.
Yeah, corporate birthday parties, weddings, you know,
Yeah,
like
okay.
I had a couple weddings lined up, you know, just different types of events, you know, and, you know, and online events too right now, you know. Adobe had hit one of my friends up, and they were looking for, you know, a DJ, and then he referred them to me, so I might be doing an Adobe virtual party coming up here, you know. So you know, just to be, you know, just to kind of just, you know, do something different, you know, but still be in the realm of hip hop, right? Because you're still, you know, you're still DJing, you're still, you know, providing the service that is still in the, you know, calibers of what we're doing.
Yeah, what I've been seeing in the DJ community a lot is like doing live stream, they'll just be playing music, and it's like they'll just sit down for like a couple hours and just mix, and I'm just like, that's tight. I mean, you just can just basically just sign on and just vibe out to the shit that they're putting on. I see dudes on YouTube and on Instagram doing it. On Twitch, yeah. And so I'm like, that's tight, because like if I was a DJ, that's what I would probably be doing right now, because it's like, it just seems like it seems so fun to do that. And you can definitely probably, you know, it's probably different than doing some live event, because you're obviously not doing any kind of crowd control. Maybe the crowd control is a little different, because you're like maybe answering like a live stream chat room or something. Maybe that's how you're doing your crowd control or whatever. But no, I think that'd be fun, and you probably getting some new, you know, some new thing. They're trying out some new things with some of their mixes and stuff. So and their mixing techniques. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I haven't tried out, you know, those. I went live a couple times on, you know, on IG Live when I was DJing and everything, and I was on there for like a half hour, and it was cool. You know, I had, you know, a handful of people in there watching me.
Yeah.
But I haven't done it like, you know, where you have, you know, 500 people watching you, you know, and watching, you know, you do everything, right? Right now, like, because I've only been doing it for, you know, a short amount of time, I feel like I'm not at that level that I want people to, you know, tune into, because you know, there's still mistakes that happen. And, you know, when I watch, like, you know, other DJs like Shortcut, like he puts on a freaking whole show.
Yeah.
Or
I mean,
Jazzy
but
Jeff, you know,
that
it's
dude's
just like,
been, yeah, those guys have been DJing for like freaking 40 or some years, you know,
yeah.
like for real. It's like, yeah.
And they're exciting to watch because
They're on a different level.
Because they do a lot of different, you know, things with the music, and they're able to do different things with the,
Yeah.
you know, turntables. I'm like, I don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's so cool about the world of DJing and turntablism is like, man, it really is like this huge art form that it's hard to understand. I think just from listening, just pure listening, you almost gotta watch it too, because it's like, wow, there's so many like crazy things that these guys are doing that you wouldn't pick up on it unless you like maybe knew the original break that they're using, and then like all these different little sounds that they're adding in. And it's like every little piece of it has to be something that they actually programmed in, or that they're tapping now, or that they're mixing in, they're scratching in. So it's like basically being a whole band by yourself, which is really cool. So and yeah, I mean, I don't know, you're dancing to the music that you're making, I think is really the best way to explain it.
Yeah, for sure. But they're, you know, shout out to the, you know, to the DJs that can keep it interesting, and to, you know, they perfect their styles just like how, you know, the dancers do. You know, we make something, you know, hard look effortless, and that's, you know, where where I'm at right now with the DJs that I watch. You know, I'm just like, hey, Jesus Christ, you know,
Yeah.
how is that even possible?
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, the venture's still there, and, you know, I'm still, you know, learning a lot of things and practicing a lot of different things to enhance my DJ skills, which anybody should be doing. You know, when you're picking up a new skill, you just don't get good overnight. You know, it takes time.
Persistence creates the preciseness.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And with that, I think that's a good way to end this show. Persistence creates preciseness. Bboy Precise. Where can people find you? You're on Instagram, right?
Yeah, you can find me on my Instagram, Bboy Precise. You can go to my YouTube channel, DJ Precise. Go to my SoundCloud, also DJ Precise. Those are my social media channels that I have up and running right now. So you can follow me through any of those sites.
Dope. So it's Bboy Precise on all those different mediums. Check him out. He's dope. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry, the show sucks.
One more thing though. One more thing is that if COVID has taught us anything, it's taught us to be more, you know, to be more concerned with your friends or family, right? Check in with your friends and family. Even though someone says they're doing okay, you know, reach out to them and really just, you know, be there for them, because right now everyone's going through, you know, a crazy time right now. You know, every day is different for somebody. You know, every day is different for me. Sometimes I have my ups and downs, but, you know, it's through, you know, those personal relationships that we have to really just, you know, reach out to people. You know, just don't like someone's post on Facebook or any social media. You know, really reach out to them and, you know, see how they're doing. You know, depression is a big thing right now, and even more so right now with people losing their jobs, you know, and unemployment cutting benefits to, you know, 23 million or plus people that, you know, needed that money. So, you know, a lot of changes are happening. So just be kind, be thoughtful, and just, you know, be in the moment to, you know, to accept, you know, your friends and family, you know, through this time right now.
Yeah, definitely. I think mental health is a big challenge at this time, and it's you know, it's kind of compounding because of all this COVID stuff. And so, you know, reach out to the people, because, you know, in a way, it could potentially be more dangerous than the actual virus, you know, in a way, because it's going to have lasting consequences beyond this virus after everything is solved with the virus. So definitely reach out to people, you know, turn this thing off, turn this podcast off right now. Go call your mom, go call your brother, go call your sister, go call your dad, go call your grandma and your grandpa and all your friends. So, dope, man. Thanks for being on. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out.
Peace, yo. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem, man.